Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into something that affects pretty much everyone, understanding relationship warning signs.
Yeah, those tricky signals.
Exactly. And our source for this deep dive is The Little Black Book of Big Red Flags Relationship Warning Signs You Totally Spotted, but Chose to Ignore, written by Natasha Burton, Julie Fishman, and Megan McCrary.
It's such a great book. Really candid, often funny, but, always insightful about those moments, those times when you just knew something felt a bit off.
Right, but you kind of pushed it aside.
For whatever reason.
So let's define it first. What exactly is a red flag, according to these authors? They say it's a sign of danger.
Okay.
The point in time when you notice something is a tad off with the guy you're dating, but decide to let it go because you really like him, you're tired of being single, you really, really want to get laid, whatever.
Uh-huh. We've all been there.
Then, when things start going downhill, you look back on that seemingly insignificant moment you dismissed and think, that's when I should have known.
Wow, yeah. That hits home. So, our mission today is really to unpack these red flags for you. We'll look at common patterns, specific things guys do,
Behaviors, yeah.
and maybe most importantly, why getting a handle on this stuff can be like a shortcut. A way to navigate your relationships with more awareness, more confidence.
Protect your time and your heart, basically.
Totally.
Okay, so let's dive into the first big area the book covers, the commitment conundrum. This is all about those signs that, well, he's just not that into having a serious relationship with you.
Right.
A classic one they mention is when he's only available when it suits him. You know the drill, right? You're trying to make dinner plans, and he won't actually commit until like 20 minutes before he's supposed to pick you up.
Waiting to see if something better pops up.
Exactly. It feels like you're the backup plan.
And it's more than just scheduling, isn't it? It's about where you actually rank in his priorities.
Yeah.
Like real partnership means planning together, not just squeezing you into the gaps.
Good point. It says a lot about your place in his life.
It really does. You deserve to be someone's first choice, not their maybe if nothing else works out option.
So that backup plan thing can be kind of subtle. But what about when a guy is super clear, like he actually tells you he doesn't want a relationship? The book points out a big mistake people make here.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
It's ignoring those I told myself I statements. Like, I told myself I was going to be more selfish this year, or I told myself I'd focus on my music or, put my career first.
Ah, the classic disclaimers.
Right. And the authors are adamant.
Yeah.
You need to get this info by, like, date 3, not date 33.
It's amazing how often we hear what we want to hear, isn't it? Instead of what's actually being said.
Totally.
So even if he's acting like a boyfriend, you keep tampons at his place, you're cuddling watching old TV shows.
Yeah, the I Love Lucy reruns example.
Right. If he's actually said out loud, I don't want a girlfriend, you really shouldn't try to convince yourself he means something else.
I'll see him.
Yeah. The book even has this wild WTF story. A guy tells a woman he's not looking for anything serious right after they slept together.
Oh, wow. Brutal.
It really highlights the bottom line. Relationships need shared expectations and, honestly, timing. It's not just about passion. If you're not on the same page early on, you're probably heading for disappointment.
Okay, so moving on from the guy who won't commit to plans or, the label, what about the guy who isn't into sleepovers? You hook up, and minutes later he's dressed and making some awkward excuse as he bolts for the door.
The done and ditched scenario.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
And look, this isn't just about whether he likes cuddling or not. If he's always rushing off, it's a pretty strong sign he doesn't want to, integrate you into his actual life.
Beyond the bedroom.
Exactly. A guy who genuinely wants you around, wants you in his life, he won't just fit you in, he'll plan around you. He'll want you to be a comfortable, normal part of his world, not just some, quick encounter.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's the guy who seems almost too perfect. The player.
Ah, the player.
He doesn't spell out his intentions right. Instead, the book says he'll set you up to fall hard with lines like, I've never felt this way before.
Oh, the classic lines.
Hoping that the harder you fall, the less likely you are to just walk away when things get weird. He's all about the future dreams he can fulfill for you.
Rather than actually getting to know you right now in the present.
Exactly. It's about charming his way into the bedroom, not really into your life long term.
And the key thing here, I think, is to watch his actions, not just listen to the smooth talk.
Totally.
A player builds this fantasy future because, honestly, he wants to avoid the messy vulnerability of a real connection right now.
If it feels too good to be true.
It probably is. If his promises seem way too perfect, it's often because they're designed to skip over genuine emotional stuff. The book even lists some hilarious but telling red flags for why he might be dating you, like he's trying to hit every ethnicity,
Oh my God.
or he's moving next week and needs help packing, probably. These clearly show he's not looking for anything real with you.
Okay, so if a guy struggles with commitment, you often see that kind of lack of responsibility pop up elsewhere, right?
Definitely.
Which brings us nicely to the next big category, the man-child manifestation. Signs he really, really needs to grow up.
The man-child. Yes.
First one, he's just plain embarrassing. The book gives some pretty vivid examples,
Oh, I bet.
like loudly telling offensive jokes at a nice restaurant or getting into potty humor.
Cool.
Or, get this, a 30-year-old man running around Victoria's Secret with a bra on his head.
No. Please tell me that's not a real story.
Apparently. But these stories, they highlight something deeper, right?
Yeah.
A fundamental immaturity.
Absolutely. A guy who lacks that basic self-awareness or, empathy. He's going to struggle with the grown-up relationship. It's not just the one embarrassing moment. It's what it says about his capacity for respect and, well, adult behavior.
Yeah, there's a really bad story in the book, a big red flag story, they call it, where this guy kept slapping his girlfriend's butt really hard in public. She told him to stop repeatedly, and then he got mad at her for being too uptight.
Wow. That's not just immature, that's crossing serious boundaries. Zero respect.
Exactly. Okay, next man-child sign. He's irresponsible. And we're talking beyond just forgetting to pay a bill. It's like a deep-seated laziness, a really juvenile way of looking at life.
Gotcha.
Like the example of the guy who only applied to one law school because he didn't want to fill out all those long applications.
Seriously, that just screams, I avoid effort. It makes you wonder if he'll ever commit to anything that takes real work.
Right.
And this often shows up as what the book calls the mirage-chasing man, the guy who's convinced he'll be a famous video game designer just because he likes playing games.
Even though he has no qualifications?
Right. No college, no design skills, no job, lives with his friend's parents, doesn't even have a cell phone sometimes. It's just this chronic avoidance of adult responsibility.
And it affects advice too, right? Like the guy who, when asked for advice on asking for a raise, just says, wear something slutty.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not helpful. It all points back to this unwillingness to engage with the realities of adult life and, mutual support in a relationship.
Then there's the emotionally infantile guy. Now, it's good for men to show emotion, obviously.
Like healthy.
But there's a line, the book talks about guys who are constantly sobbing over ridiculous things.
Like what?
Like his sister being taller than him. Or losing a beer pong tournament.
Okay, yeah, that's excessive. It makes you think, okay, if he falls apart when his favorite jeans shrink, how's he going to handle real problems? Like an unexpected job loss or a family crisis?
Exactly. You need a partner you can lean on, not someone who's going to crumble at the slightest thing.
Totally. There's this incredible story in the book. A boyfriend wins a huge stuffed penguin wearing a bikini at a fair.
Okay.
Refuses to give it to a little kid who wants it, names the penguin Oscar Wally.
Oscar Wally the penguin.
And then buys it its own business class seat on the plane home.
You're kidding.
Nope. It's extreme, obviously, but it perfectly shows that profound lack of adult perspective.
Yeah.
Just completely out of touch with reality.
That is wow. And just wow. Okay, what about the guys who act like women or, women's bodies are gross? Like they have cooties.
Ah, that type.
The book says they freak out if they see a woman breastfeeding or have to frantically change the channel during a Vagisil commercial.
Yeah.
And they get super weird about periods and flow.
Yeah, that's a definite sign of immaturity. There's actually red flag rule #10 in the book.
What does it say?
It says, if a guy can't hear the word vagina without giggling, he should not be permitted to touch yours.
Huh. Straight to the point.
Pretty much. It's not just about being squeamish. It reflects a lack of basic maturity and, frankly, respect for women's bodies and normal biological functions. It suggests he's just not ready for the full reality of an adult relationship.
Okay, last one in the man-child zone. The sloppy Joe.
The messy guy.
Yeah. The book paints this picture of a guy, maybe post-college, whose apartment still looks like a frat house. Cinder blocks for furniture, condom wrappers lying around, sticky floors. You get the idea. Or just really poor grooming and hygiene, which kind of signals he doesn't really care how others, including you, see him.
Right. It's a form of neglect. And there's this one story about a guy who spent 5 hours a day watching TV.
5 hours.
but claimed he didn't have time to clean his disgusting apartment, so his girlfriend just refused to sleep over anymore.
I don't blame her.
And this isn't just about being messy. It's often a sign of a deeper unwillingness to handle basic adult stuff. It extends to avoiding other adult duties and kind of expecting a woman to step in and be his secretary or, his mom.
Yeah, the book has some pretty grim examples under top 10 red flags, things you find in his fridge, like mold, obviously, or his ex-girlfriend's new ring.
Ew. No. Stop. That's horrifying. Yeah, these aren't just messy habits. They point to someone who's fundamentally irresponsible.
Totally. Okay, let's shift gears. Let's talk about communication problems. Communication catastrophes, as the book calls them. When words or the lack of them really tell you something's wrong.
This is a huge one.
First up, he'd rather type than talk. The guy who hides behind his phone or computer. Uses email, texting, IM, Facebook, anything to avoid a real face-to-face conversation.
Yeah, avoids true discussion, as the book puts it. What does that really tell us when someone consistently ducks the hard conversations by hiding behind a screen?
Well, the book argues it's a massive red flag. It suggests they're unwilling to engage authentically, especially when things get tough or awkward.
Right? It's just easier, isn't it, to say something difficult or embarrassing or even devastating when you don't have to look the other person in the eye.
Exactly. And red flag rule, #12 hits this perfectly. If a guy can pick up a phone and send you a text, surely he can use the same phone and call you with it.
Good point. Simple, but true. There's even a shocking story in there. A guy told his girlfriend he had an STD via a Facebook message because, and I quote, he didn't want to discuss it.
Oh my God. Cowardly doesn't even cover it.
Right. That kind of emotional avoidance is just deeply problematic for any real relationship.
Definitely. Okay, what about the pretty pleaser? The guy who whines and begs to get his way.
Ugh, the wheedler.
Yeah, hoping his constant pleading will just wear you down until you give in. The book says, watching a grown man grovel is most definitely not a turn-on. And it stresses, if we say no, we mean no. Doesn't matter how many times he begs.
That behavior is so immature and selfish, really. It shows he can't communicate like an adult. He can't respect boundaries. He can't respect your no. It's basically emotional manipulation.
Yeah. Then there's the opposite problem, kind of.
Yeah.
The guy who overshares.
TMI guy.
Totally. Like details that are just too gross to share to preserve the romance. The book mentions stuff like bathroom habits, dropping the kids off the pool.
Okay, yeah, we don't need a play-by-play.
Right. Or sometimes they overshare to either boost their own ego or maybe put you down, like the DJ example.
Oh, yeah.
He tells his girlfriend about all the girls hitting on him at his booth when she's not there. Like, why share that?
That's not building connection, is it? A good communicator knows what not to say. Oversharing like that often shows a lack of consideration, or sometimes it's even a deliberate attempt to make you feel insecure or uncomfortable.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, next. The man who only pretends to listen. We all know this type, right?
Mm-hmm. Head nodder.
You're talking, telling him something important, and all you get back is, or maybe a flat, sure.
Yeah.
But you can tell his mind is elsewhere.
Yeah, the book says he's actually planning his fantasy draft, or maybe just his escape from the conversation.
Exactly. It's like talking to a wall sometimes.
Or a bobblehead doll, yeah. Just nodding along, but nothing's sinking in. And that lack of real engagement, that's a huge red flag for building any kind of real mutual connection. If he's not truly listening, he's not truly present.
So true. And finally, this is a big one. He avoids conflict at all costs.
The conflict avoider.
The book makes a great point. Conflict is normal. It's inevitable in relationships. If you've supposedly been together for, say, 5 years and never had an argument.
Something's wrong. Someone's probably not speaking up.
Exactly. And the book describes 2 common tactics the conflict avoider uses. Either they apologize immediately, like, okay, sorry, but have zero intention of actually changing their behavior.
To fake apology.
Or they just blow up, get super angry, and then walk out, storm off.
Yeah, shut down or explode. Neither is helpful. So how can a relationship possibly grow or get stronger if you can't work through disagreements?
It can't, really. The bottom line in the book is spot on. Without proper communication, nothing will ever get resolved, creating a buildup of resentment that will eventually explode all over you.
That resentment buildup is so dangerous.
Yeah.
And the book also lists some truly awful things guys might do during a fight.
Oh, yeah, like what?
Like asking, what are you on your period? Or calling his mother to complain about you. Or literally making faces and mimicking you like a little kid.
Oh, that's terrible. It just shows a complete inability to handle conflict like a mature adult.
Absolutely. Major red flags there.
Okay, let's move into maybe a more sensitive area,
Yeah.
bedroom betrayals, when intimacy itself is compromised.
Right. This can be really tough.
First off,
Hmm.
he's just clueless in bed. The book describes this as the man who requires a map to find your clip or focuses solely on the obvious erogenous zones.
Yeah, it highlights a real lack of, well, care and attention to a partner's pleasure. It's not just about technique, it's about awareness.
There's a pretty shocking story in the book, a big red flag story about a guy who forcefully jammed his fingers inside a woman
Oh, no.
and was doing, quote, the staying alive dance into my vagina.
Oh my God, that's not just clueless, that sounds aggressive and awful. It's a total lack of empathy and attention to her comfort.
Seriously. Okay, then what about when he's weird in bed or maybe into some freaky shit, as the book puts it? It mentions unusual desires or maybe owning toys like ball gags or nipple clamps.
Look, the key thing here is your comfort and your consent. Always. Right.
A decent guy, a stand-up guy, he'll respect your boundaries, even if you're not into the same things he is. But the book warns, a not-so-great guy will try to convince you that it's your duty to indulge his every fantasy.
That's manipulation.
Exactly. And that's where you have to draw a very clear line. Your comfort comes first.
Okay, but what if he is into some, let's say, unconventional stuff, and he hides it from you? The book says the secrecy itself is the real problem here, maybe more than the actual act.
That's a really interesting point. It raises questions about fundamental honesty in the relationship, doesn't it?
Yeah, like why hide it?
Even if it doesn't involve another person. There's a story about a boyfriend who confessed after months that he'd bought and used things like anal beads and a butt plug on himself secretly.
Okay.
And while, what he did alone is his business, the deceit made his partner feel betrayed. It undermined the trust between them.
That makes sense. The lying is the issue. Okay, now we get to a really serious category.
Yeah.
He's mean in bed, disrespectful, chauvinistic, maybe even coercive. This is extremely concerning territory.
It includes things like extreme verbal disrespect.
Yeah.
The book gives the example, suck my dick, bitch. Awful stuff.
Horrible. And it can escalate to physical coercion, manipulation, making you feel insecure.
Yeah. The book stresses having sex with you is a privilege. It should never, ever be abusive.
Absolutely not. There are some truly disturbing stories here, like a guy who would constantly prod his partner for sex, even after she said no, just completely ignoring her consent.
That's terrifying.
And another really manipulative one. A boyfriend recreated Hawaii in a hotel room. Sounds romantic, right?
Yeah.
But he later admitted he did it specifically, quote, so I would have anal with him, using a grand gesture as leverage for sex.
That's incredibly calculated and messed up.
It really is. And then there's the most extreme end. The book details a story, just horrifying, of a boyfriend who taped them having sex without her consent.
Oh my God.
And then threatened to post it online if she didn't send him pornographic pictures of herself.
That's criminal. That's beyond red flags. That's abuse.
Absolutely. These aren't just warning signs. They are get out now danger signs. Deal breakers, no question. Issues of power, control, and abuse.
Okay. Shifting slightly, but still in the bedroom. What if his libido just disappears? His sex drive is suddenly MIA, and you know it's not about you.
Yeah, that can be confusing and hurtful. The book kind of cheekily suggests he might be overeating somewhere else if his usual hearty sexual appetite vanishes when he's with you. There's red flag rule, #35. If your vibrator is consistently serving as designated hitter, your man may be rounding the bases with another player.
Wow, they don't pull punches.
Not at all. The advice is to talk to him about it, confront him gently, and see how he responds. Is it genuine stress, anxiety, maybe medication side effects? Or is it what they call can't keep his pants on syndrome?
Right, but either way, the core issue is a lack of intimacy and connection, which probably points to bigger problems.
Exactly. It's usually a symptom of something deeper going wrong in the relationship.
Okay, let's broaden out again. Now we're diving into what the book calls the deeper dangers. Issues around trust, control, and whether your life paths are actually compatible.
These are fundamental.
First, he's just inconsiderate or selfish. The book says consistently not calling when he says he will, forgetting important plans, or even knowingly keeping you awake when you need sleep. These all point to basic selfishness.
Yeah, it's about a lack of basic empathy. There's a story about a guy who didn't pick up his girlfriend for her law school graduation because driving to her place was, quote, out of the way.
Are you serious? Her graduation?
Yep. And red flag rule #25 is really key here. It says, if he's inconsiderate or insensitive during the so-called honeymoon phase, he's not going to suddenly start treating you better once the excitement and newness of the relationship wear off.
That's such a good point. It's not going to magically improve.
Probably the opposite. This behavior shows a fundamental lack of empathy that likely won't change.
Well, what if he straight up lies to you?
Mm.
The book puts it simply. A relationship without trust is like a building without a foundation.
It's doomed to fail eventually.
It might look okay for a bit, but it'll crumble.
Trust is everything, isn't it? The book tells a story about a friend's boyfriend who was dating someone online. He told the online person he'd never been married.
Uh-oh.
But he was actually separated from his wife, and he was lying to his current girlfriend about who was calling when his wife rang.
Wow. That's a tangled web.
Yeah.
It just shows how lies, even seemingly small ones, just destroy any chance of a secure, real connection.
Absolutely.
Another big red flag. He doesn't show up for important events, I mean.
Yeah, being a no-show.
Bailing on things like your graduation or a party celebrating your promotion, or maybe you're performing in a show. If he forgets or just doesn't come, it sends a pretty clear message, right?
It says he doesn't think your achievements, or maybe even you, are that important. There's a story about a theater major. Her boyfriend forgot about her big performance, the main one, even though she reminded him multiple times.
Ouch. That's got hurt.
Terribly. And you have to think, if a guy won't show up for these kinds of milestones, is he really going to be there for the truly major life stuff, like if you have a baby, or if a parent gets sick or passes away?
Probably not.
His real character often comes out when things get tough, or even just when supporting you requires a little effort or inconvenience. If he flakes when things are good, he's definitely not going to be reliable when they're bad.
Okay, this next one can be tricky, but it's critical. He puts other women before you.
Yeah, this isn't just about jealousy.
Right. The book clarifies it's about respect. It's about where you actually stand in his priorities. There's red flag rule #28.
Let me guess, something about exes.
You got it. If the guy you're dating is friends with all the girls he used to sleep with and also expects to be friends with you should you break up, he's delusional.
Huh, okay, fair enough. It's about boundaries.
Totally. And there's a story about a guy who had this super close female friend.
A mysterious close female friend.
Exactly. Never introduced her to his girlfriend, would never take her calls when the girlfriend was around, and even went to this friend's graduation 4 hours away alone without his girlfriend.
Yeah, that's shady. It shows he's not willing to prioritize the relationship or create clear boundaries. That's a lack of respect.
Definitely. Okay, now the really big one for a lot of people. Marriage and the future. He's never going to propose, or maybe he uses marriage talk as a weapon, or he keeps you a secret, or just clearly has no future plans that include you.
This is where long-term compatibility really comes into play. If marriage is important to you, and it's clearly not even on his radar, that relationship is unlikely to be fulfilling for you in the long run.
And you have to watch out for the guys who kind of dangle the idea of marriage.
Bro, absolutely. The book warns about guys who dangle the marriage carrot to make you feel guilty about leaving, or maybe to get something else from you.
Like the story of the boyfriend who cheated.
Let me guess. He suddenly mentioned marriage when he got caught.
Exactly. Yeah. Cried. Said, but I wanted to marry you. To stop her from breaking up with him. They stayed together 2 more years.
Yeah.
Still no proposal.
Ugh. Classic manipulation. And not introducing you to his family or friends after months or even years, that's another huge sign he's not serious.
Yeah. Or if he talks about his 10-year plan, his 20-year future.
Yeah.
And you're just not in it.
MIA from his future vision. Yeah, he's probably not thinking about making you his MRS.
The book has a really painful story here. A boyfriend convinced his girlfriend to move across the country with him, hinting at a proposal.
Okay.
Then on her birthday, he went golfing. And she later found out he was already planning another move without her.
That's just devastating. A deep betrayal of trust and any sense of a shared future.
Seriously. Okay, let's talk about being used in other ways, like he treats you like his housewife, or he's only interested in your connections, or he's just a moocher.
Yeah, the users. The book makes a good distinction. There are guys who genuinely can't manage basic life stuff, and then there are guys who can, but they just prefer to let a woman do it all.
Right. So if you didn't sign up to be his wifey, but you find yourself constantly acting as his maid, his chef, his nanny.
You're probably being used. It's not a partnership. There's a wild example of a guy who was basically dating 4 different women at the same time, each for a specific purpose.
4. What were the purposes?
1 to sleep with, 1 to cook for him, 1 to take out on dates, and 1 to show his parents.
That's horrifyingly strategic.
Yep.
Awful.
Completely transactional. And this extends to guys who are using you for your status or connections, too.
Right, exploiting your fabulous life.
There's a story about a supposed friend who only ever contacted this woman when her famous boss, a movie star, was in the news. All she had asked about was the job, the Grammy parties, never about the woman herself.
Oof, gross. Using her for proximity to fame.
Or the guy who moved in with his girlfriend, then tried to evict her after just a month, admitting he only wanted her apartment and her nice things.
Wow. Cold.
These are people leveraging you for their own gain with zero genuine care.
And the straight-up moocher. The book warns about the "I just moved across the country to be with you" guy.
Who then magically expects you to foot all the bills.
Yeah, there's a story about a struggling actor. Took rent money from both his current girlfriend and his ex-girlfriend,
Oh, come on.
while spending his own small savings on stuff like magazines and video games.
That's just shameless. The book has some funny but sad signs. He's just too broke, too. Like, his bedroom is someone else's living room, or he takes you out for a nice dinner at 7-Eleven.
Oh, dear. While funny, it points to a real lack of responsibility and maybe a willingness to exploit people.
Definitely.
Okay, next up. The really painful one. He's cheating on you. Or, maybe just as bad, he's sloppy about it and leaves a trail of evidence.
Yeah, betrayal is incredibly damaging, and the book rightly points out that an emotional affair can hurt just as much, sometimes more, than a physical one.
That's true. There's a WTF story about a boyfriend who would deliberately start fights. So his girlfriend would get angry and storm out of the apartment, leaving him free to use the place to sleep with other women.
That is calculated cruelty. Unbelievable.
Right. And another one, a guy starts asking his girlfriend intrusive questions about her Facebook and Gmail.
Fishing for something.
Turns out he'd just run into his ex and was basically looking for justification, any excuse, for his own cheating, projecting his guilt.
Wow. And the trail of evidence is classic too, isn't it? Finding songs that aren't yours, smelling perfume, seeing sexts he claims were sent by accident.
Yeah, the accidental sext. Plausible.
Totally. There's a story about a guy who was engaged, but had women's shoes and a cat toy at his apartment.
And his excuse.
Claimed they belonged to his sister, who apparently wears stilettos and owns a cat he never mentioned.
Right. And the story about the guy who first claimed his friend borrowed his phone to text other girls.
Okay, the friend defense.
And then later, when caught again, claimed he accidentally sent explicit texts and a bikini photo of his girlfriend to everyone in his contacts while drunk.
That excuse is elaborate and completely unbelievable. The common thread is just betrayal and a total lack of respect.
Totally. Okay, another really critical one.
Yeah.
He's a control freak.
Control issues. Major red flag.
He might outline these rigid expectations for how you should behave. Like, the book mentions a guy who said he'd only call twice after a date, and if the woman didn't call back, he'd delete her number. Like, setting rules from day one.
Wow. Laying down the law immediately. That's intense.
Yeah. He micromanages you, criticizes everything you do, talks down to you. But heaven forbid you criticize him.
Can dish it out. They can't take it. Classic controller.
He might even start telling you what to wear. Or make nasty little backhanded comments about your weight, or demand you change your clothes before going out.
Trying to control your appearance? That's a huge red flag.
And a key tactic, the book points out, is isolating you. He'll constantly criticize your friends, your family.
Driving a wedge. Making you dependent only on him.
Exactly. There's a WTF story about an ex who hated his girlfriend going out with her friends. He insisted people in relationships don't go out.
That's not true. That's isolation.
Right. And then after they broke up, he constantly spammed her with texts and calls. It wasn't about love. It was about losing control.
That's chilling. It's about power, stripping away your support system and independence.
Okay, last one in this section. He toys with your emotions. That constant emotional tug of war.
The push and pull, hot and cold, it's exhausting.
Why would anyone stay in that? It's just draining and so unfair. The book tells a story about a guy who kept breaking up with his girlfriend.
What was his excuse?
Things were moving too fast, or he felt too much, vague stuff. But then, as soon as she finally moved on, maybe started seeing someone new.
He'd come running back.
Aggressively. Bombarding her with calls, sending flowers, desperate to get her back.
That's not love, that's manipulation. It's cruel. It shows he only cares about his own fleeting feelings, not her actual well-being or happiness.
Exactly. Okay, let's look at red flags coming from outside the immediate relationship. His life, his past, of the people around him.
External factors, yeah. These can be really revealing.
First, he has the worst past imaginable, and he will not shut up about it.
Ah, the perpetual victim of the past.
Right. Constantly blaming his painful past for absolutely everything wrong in his life now. His lack of confidence. Past's fault. His cavities. Past's fault.
It's like for this guy, every road leads back to something that happened 20 years ago. His dad left, he got teased in school, whatever it is.
And it becomes an excuse, right?
Exactly. It's a refusal to take responsibility now, a refusal to move forward or overcome challenges. The past is just a convenient scapegoat for everything.
Okay, what about the workaholics? The book is pretty clear on this. It calls workaholics addicts
Yeah, that's a strong take.
and says their need to work controls their impulses, meaning you will never come before his addiction.
That really raises questions about his ability to connect, doesn't it? If work is truly an addiction for him. There's a story about a friend's wealthy dad. He could easily retire.
But he doesn't.
Nope. Keeps working insane hours, barely sees his family, because the work is his addiction. For someone like that, their priorities are always going to be skewed, and your needs, they'll likely always come second to that compulsion.
Makes sense. Okay, next. He's shady. Like, maybe involved in illegal stuff, dealing drugs.
Yeah, the guy with the secret life.
The book talks about the frustration of being with someone who has to hide what they do all day, and then you end up having to lie to your own friends and family, too.
It creates so much stress and distrust. There's a story about a guy at a bar. His date noticed men kept coming up to him for these quick, hushed exchanges.
And turns out,
He was dealing drugs right there. Relationships like that, they don't just erode trust, they can actually put you in danger or in legal trouble. Your peace of mind is just gone.
yeah, definitely not worth it.
Yeah.
And there's the guy who's just, well, the book calls him a loser. No drive, no ambition.
Going nowhere slowly.
Exactly. Just drifting. Content living in, say, his grandma's garage, maybe working part-time at a head shop, getting stoned for breakfast.
This points to that chronic avoidance of adult responsibility again, maybe relying on schemes instead of actual effort. There's a truly wild story in the book.
Yeah.
A guy on probation needed to pass a drug test, so he got caught trying to use a fake penis filled with clean urine.
You cannot be serious.
Apparently. And this same guy was living in his sick father's basement with his buddy who'd just gotten out of jail. It's just a whole picture of irresponsibility.
Wow. And the book also mentions guys who scam the system.
Right.
Abusing unemployment or disability just to avoid working.
Yeah, like the guy who faked an injury to get disability leave, supposedly for his photography business,
Which is really...
getting stoned and taking terrible photos. It's just a pattern of really concerning behavior and lack of integrity.
Okay, and the most blatant one in this category, he's literally in the system, as in prison.
Yeah, the book basically says this is a pretty clear sign of a worst life scenario relationship-wise.
It doesn't judge the person, but...
But it points out the huge practical difficulties. Trying to maintain a relationship with someone who's incarcerated long-term, it's incredibly challenging, bordering on impossible for most people, a very tough reality.
Okay, what if he has kids, but he's not actually raising them?
The deadbeat dad flag.
Yeah, points to massive irresponsibility. The book mentions examples like a guy with 6 kids with 5 different women.
Right.
Or a guy who prioritizes going on vacation with his new girlfriend over going to his kid's Christmas play.
That says so much about his character, doesn't it? His capacity for sacrifice, his sense of fundamental duty if he's not prioritizing his own children.
He's definitely not going to prioritize you.
Exactly. There's a story about a guy who had a car seat hidden in his garage.
But claimed?
It was for his niece. He was actively pretending he wasn't a father. That level of deception about something so fundamental speaks volumes.
Wow, okay, now, the family. He has the worst family.
Oof, family dynamics. Tricky.
The book says, look, a guy isn't exactly like his family, but he is the product of the environment he was raised in.
That makes sense. Nature and nurture.
And how he treats his family is key. If he puts them down constantly, teases them cruelly, screams at them, that's probably how he'll end up treating you. This one always rings true for me.
Oh, yeah. And red flag rule, #43 is direct. If a guy treats his mother like dirt, it's very likely he'll treat you terribly, too.
Good rule.
The book has some truly bizarre family stories, like jaw-dropping.
Give me one.
Okay. A boyfriend insisted his girlfriend get into bed with him, and his dad was just in boxers on New Year's Eve, and then the boyfriend spooned his mom.
Stop. No, that's deeply uncomfortable on so many levels.
Right. Or the parents who, over 3 years, gave their son's girlfriend 18 framed baby photos of him as gifts.
18. That's
Yeah.
intense. Major boundary issues.
Yeah, totally. And another WTF story. A family deliberately spoke Croatian in front of the girlfriend to exclude her, staring at her and talking about how awful she was for not speaking their language.
That's just plain hostile.
Exactly. These aren't just little quirks. They show things like enmeshment, disrespect, zero boundaries. And the crucial point is, if he isn't willing to stand up to his parents, to lay down the law and protect your relationship,
He's not ready to prioritize you.
he's not ready. His primary loyalty is still with them, not with building a new life with you.
Okay. Related to family. His friends. He has the worst friends.
The company you keep.
Exactly. Red flag rule #44 says, it pretty much goes without saying that a guy who has less than stellar friends is most likely less than stellar himself.
Makes sense. Birds of a feather.
So, if his buddies are genuinely problematic, the book mentions examples like neo-Nazis, unemployed drug addicts, criminals hanging out with them puts you at risk too, potentially.
Yeah, guilt by association or worse. But the advice isn't necessarily tell him to dump his friends.
Right. What is the advice?
It's more about assessing what he actually values in those friendships. Why does he hang out with these people if he can't articulate anything redeeming about them? Or if their core values are just totally opposed to yours?
Then you have to question what's redeeming about him.
Precisely. You learn a lot about someone by who they choose to spend their time with.
So true. Okay, last major section. Personality pitfalls. When he's just fundamentally, well, the book says the worst human.
Ouch. Harsh, but sometimes necessary.
First, he's the anti-you, complete opposites. The book argues that while some differences can be good, complete opposites repel.
Yeah, that initial spark of difference can turn into constant friction. There's a story about a very free-spirited, liberal woman dating a super conservative, kind of tight-fisted guy.
How'd that go?
Every single conversation turned into an exhausting argument. Their fundamental values, their ways of seeing the world, were just too different for it to ever work peacefully. It shows that core compatibility matters, maybe more than superficial attraction.
Makes sense. Okay, then there's the catch-all. He just has the worst personality. A faulty foundation, the book calls it. They break it down into types. First, the pretentious guy.
Ah, Mr. Superior. Incapable of empathy, basically.
Yeah, can't put himself in anyone else's shoes. There's a story about a rich boyfriend complaining bitterly about having to fly coach to Italy.
Oh, the hardship.
Even though his girlfriend's parents were paying for the entire graduation trip for both of them.
Wow. Zero gratitude, zero perspective, just entitlement. And the WTF story about an ex who condescendingly told his former girlfriend she knew nothing about life because she wasn't married like him.
Ugh, so patronizing. These guys are just too self-absorbed to connect.
Totally.
Okay, next type. The high-maintenance man.
Needs constant attention and care.
Yeah, obsessed with superficial stuff, always expects everyone else, especially you, to be his caretaker, his cheerleader, his therapist.
It's exhausting. These guys just drain your energy. Your needs always come second to their endless demands for validation and reassurance. It's a totally one-sided dynamic.
Definitely. Then the whiner.
Constantly complaining.
About hardships that are really just normal life stuff, things everyone deals with.
Right. There's a story about a hipster-emo-type guy whose entire conversation revolved around how shitty his life was.
That sounds draining.
It's more than just annoying. It's a huge emotional burden for you to carry. It shows a real lack of resilience, perspective, and gratitude. Just negativity all the time.
Yeah. And finally, the plain old douchebag, or just a mean guy.
Unfortunately common.
The book gives an example of a guy who, on a first date, starts laying down strict standards, warning the woman not to be one of those girls who, has expectations or needs.
Wow. That's not setting standards, that's intimidation. Trying to make you feel bad or ashamed for having perfectly normal desires or boundaries in a relationship.
It's a power play right from the start.
Absolutely. A massive red flag waving vigorously.
Okay, wow. That was quite the deep dive into the little black book of big red flags. So much to unpack there.
It really covers the gamut, doesn't it?
It's crystal clear that, yeah, some of these flags might just need a good, honest conversation. But others, they're absolute run-the-other-way deal breakers.
Absolutely. And what the authors keep coming back to again and again is this idea of awareness. It's not just about spotting the behavior in him.
Right.
It's about truly noticing how he treats you, and maybe even more importantly, tuning into how his behavior actually makes you feel.
That internal compass.
Exactly. And they really push you to talk to him directly about those feelings. See how he reacts. Is he defensive? Does he dismiss you? Or does he seem genuinely concerned about how you feel?
Because this whole process, recognizing these flags, it's really about protecting yourself, isn't it? Your time, your energy, your self-worth.
100%. Because as the book puts it so well, if you have to think twice about whether or not your man is treating you right, you're already thinking too hard.
Ooh, that's good. Trust your gut.
Trust your gut. Your intuition, combined with the kinds of insights we've talked about today, that's a really powerful guide for navigating relationships.
So ultimately, if you know deep down you're not being treated the way you deserve, and your gut feeling is screaming at you, why stick around? Why waste your precious time on someone who clearly isn't the right match?
Right. The book defines that red flag moment perfectly. The point in time when you notice something is a tad off, but decide to let it go because you really like him, you're tired of being single, you really, really want to get laid, whatever. We all know that feeling.
That should-have-known moment.
Exactly. So the question for you, listening right now, is if you often have that gut feeling, if you recognize that moment, what does it really take for you to listen to it, to actually salute the flag, as
Yeah.
the book says?
Not just when it's huge and obvious.
But when it's just starting to unfurl, even if listening means walking away from something that feels easy or familiar or comfortable, think about that. Think about what it takes to choose yourself and build the kind of relationship that truly supports and uplifts you.